Hey guys, today I've got a review of the Indian Dark Horse. This is the fastest Indian they make due to the fact it's the largest engine and the lightest weight. All blacked out, no chrome, no bags, no windscreen, no extras. Basic gauge. This has the fob starting system. Fob is under the seat. Normally you put it in your pocket. And an electronic starter, but not like your typical starter. You don't have to hold it in to engage the motor, you just tap it. It is a push to start type of starter. Now I've ridden the Classic, which is pretty much the same bike, so I'm curious to see if there's any difference between these two. Although it's possible you will not see that review, because I'm not sure if I had another GoPro problem or I accidentally stopped the video by hitting the remote in my pocket. But this one's still going. Oi, I tell you, I'm pretty sure I hit it in my pocket. I put it in my inside breast pocket this time. Kickstand up. Boy, even the little control indications are blacked out. This is really a blacked out bike. Now this has a fuel gauge. Instead of a round gauge here like the Classic does, it's digital here. We've got the menu button up here in the left control like all Indian bikes, and that cycles through your digital information display. I'm going to leave it on tachometer. This is your gear selector. It's neutral. It's a 6-speed transmission. We've got floorboards, nice big rear brake pedal, normal gear shifter. Mirrors are same configuration as the Classic, actually very good, except they're blacked out. Got a gloss black bar. Everything else is flat black, the plastic and the paint itself. And man, I'll tell you what, and they warn you about this with these flat paints, don't scratch them, because they scratch real easily, and without a clear coat, buffing can be a little bit of an issue. Thumbs up, we are ready to go. I'm in the middle of the pack for this ride. It's actually a really nice course, 12 something miles. Everyone checks in, good to go. Nice solid chunky feeling transmission, not too much of a thunk, just a nice solid engagement. Heck of a lot better than mine, I'll tell you that much. It's got a little bit of a shake at the saddle. Butter smooth takeoff. Absolutely electric the way it takes off like that. Little bit of a nosedive from the plush suspension. I'm familiar with the way these ride. It's not too much of a dive at all. It's very controlled. I think we're just waiting on some traffic to get out of here. Whew, tell you what, it is hot out today. Now I'm way over on the far side of Orlando, and anywhere in the middle of Florida like this, it gets stinking hot. And when you're not moving, oh man, it's brutal. Self-canceling turn signals. They seem to be lean angle related. Nice low end torque. Very good riding position. Extremely neutral, good bar height, excellent width. My elbows are nice and relaxed. Just kind of goosing it here in second. Very good exhaust note. I don't know if this has different pipes. Well, I know for a fact it has different tips at least than the Classic that I rode, which is right in front of me. Those have kind of like the fin type pipes, and these are kind of like straight shotguns. They sound identical. I can't tell the difference. It has a nice aggressive growl, a decent volume. It's not obnoxious. Does have a bit of a concussive hit to it, especially when I gear it up here and really lay on the torque. Very smooth. We're going to make a right here. Now again, like all the Indians, the gear selector runs off the engine, and it does factor in the clutch, so it does not change immediately. Very good floorboard position. Let's try and see if I can scrape here. Man, you hit that rev limiter quick. Very good lean angle. Fun. Goes around corners with absolute ease, but a ton of power. Plenty of confidence riding down in this. Excellent seat. It is a different seat than the one I rode in the Classic, but it's just as comfortable. Feels like there's a little bit more firmness in the pad in the back, not the part you're sitting on, but the part you're braced against. It has a little bucket shape to it, so when you give it some power, it does kind of roll you back a bit. This feels a little bit more shallow than the Classic. Doesn't quite hold me in as well as the Classic did. Now, I don't know if you can see it on the video, but the Classic has a pillion seat built in, so it is a completely different shape. This is more of just a solo rider, catcher's mitt kind of design. Still very comfortable. I have no pressure points. Very plush. It's wide, supportive. No complaints there. But you do move around in it a little bit more than that Classic saddle. Just as a comparison. Not a negative in any way. Just a comparison. Great low-speed handling. I'm just easing on the brakes here. 1-2 miles an hour. Doesn't feel wobbly. Doesn't feel tippy. Great. Very low center of gravity. Just a little bit of frame shake here. Tiny bit through the... Okay, they went out of order. That's alright. We'll switch. Once you get moving, vibration's gone. Bars are dead calm. Almost like it's not even running. Even when you goose it, you feel it in the seat. You feel it in the frame. It doesn't really even translate through to the floorboards. However, they are also rubber mounted floorboards. So that makes it even more comfortable. I didn't know they even did that on bikes. It's probably not a new feature. You know, I'm not a cruiser expert, but I can't think of any of them that I've ridden, certainly any that I've reviewed, that had rubber mounted floorboards. And you can move your foot and kind of wiggle them around. It's kind of like they're on a big set of rubber bands, so they float. They work. They absolutely work. Very impressed with the handling here. Very neutral steering. I feel like I could just take my hands off it right now and there wouldn't be any problem. Don't really want to piss off the guys behind me doing that, but hey. Now I got a Scout in front of me. The Classic I rode before is behind me now. Now the differences between the Classic and the Dark Horse here is simply what's bolted on. Same transmission, same engine, same frame, same geometry. This is just missing stuff. So it's a little bit lighter. Honestly, I can't feel a bit of a difference between the two. You would never know it. This doesn't have the auxiliary lights. And it's got a little plastic plug there where the switch would be. I assume that you can add them to this because I see the posts sticking out the sides where they would mount. And obviously with that plug there, it's meant to have something go there. And of course the chrome does weigh more than just painted steel and plastic. So that's a bit of a weight savings. Other than that, you're looking at the same bike. Neither one have bags, neither one have a trunk. Classic has that extra seat, but that's several pounds. You're not going to feel that. So performance-wise, either one is going to give you the same seat of the pants at least. Let's go up into 6. I do like having the dedicated fuel gauge on the Classic compared to this though. It's got a good speedo. It's easy to glance down and look at, but other than that, you're not going to be looking down at the little digital gauge. Certainly not as a tachometer. Number one, because it's on such a delay, it only updates every half second. It's not like a fluid sweep or anything like that. But you have to look so far down. I've ridden other bikes like that too, where stuff is on the tank like it is here, and you don't take your eyes off the road that much, or at least you don't want to. So I certainly would want a model with dedicated gauges up here, at least a dedicated speedometer like some of the others have. Now the Scout puts its gauge cluster, even though it has the same information, between the bars. So it's a lot more usable because all you have to do is dart your eyes down. Now with my helmet on, maybe it's different if you don't wear a full face helmet, but with my helmet on, I can't see the gauge at all with my head up. I have to physically look down this much, and that's right here where I can see all of the gauge. That's how much the head has to turn down in order to use that gauge cluster. Even that's the minimum I can do just to see the top of the speedo to see where my needle is. So just bear that in mind. If you're on the Scout, you don't need to do that at all. You can see everything with your eyes looking straight forward. Boy, I tell you what, I hope that GoPro is still recording. And I'm hoping that that last time was what I think it was, me accidentally hitting the button with my arm when it was in my pocket. Because I've done everything that I can possibly think of to try to stop that power off problem or that record stop problem. I'm thinking now it's not an overheat problem because the camera stays on. It just stops recording. It's like you press stop, literally. Oh well, I'll figure it out. We'll see what happens when I get back from this ride, if I have a recording or not. If I don't, I think I'm going to call it a day. If I do, I'm going to do another review. I've got one more battery in my pocket, and I got plenty of juice and plenty of card space. So as long as it's working, I'm going to work. I'm going to spend the day out here. I don't even know what time it is. This clock is blinking, so I can't tell. It's stuck at 12 o'clock. And I haven't checked. This is the third ride I've been out on. They're about 25 minutes long. They're breaking about 10 minutes in between, so that's almost 2 hours. I got here at 9, so it's probably a little after 11-ish, maybe 10:30. Kind of getting a little thirsty. All right, we're about halfway through this course. First two went really quickly. This one's going a little slower. Probably because this seems like I just repeated it because the last bike was literally so similar. Yeah, love the lean angle on this. Absolutely no complaints. I'm watching the guy 2 up ahead of me. He's on another similar bike, same frame. He wasn't even close. We were leaning about the same there, and he wasn't even close to scraping. So taking this up in the mountains or the twisties, no problems. You're going to have a lot of fun on the curves, unlike the Harleys, where, man, you run out of turning lean angle so fast, it'll make your head spin and your bike crash. Because you hit those pegs, man, that's it, you're done. All of a sudden you're tripod and you're sliding and you're low sliding down the road. Now with these guys, these big ones actually have more lean angle than the Scout. I was scraping the pegs on the Scout. Really impressed. Very nice suspension. I'm lugging it here in 6, just digging the way it sounds. Got that concussive beat going. Grips are very comfortable. They're a little firm. They are very firm rubber. They're not too firm, but definitely not like some other bikes I've ridden have foamier type grips, or at least softer rubber, so you have some cushion. Now it's not bothering me because I don't have excessive handlebar shake, but just kind of gripping them I could see it maybe tiring out my hands a little bit. I didn't notice it when I rode the Classic. It has the same grips, but now that I've, gotten some more time on it, I'm noticing it. It's just one of those things where it doesn't really stick out, but sometimes when you're doing a longer ride, a small thing can turn into a big thing given enough time. So I think if I had one of these, I might swap out the grips for something just a little bit softer. I like the diameter. I like the way that they grip my hands. Now I've got big hands, but I have short fingers. I've got big fat hands, but short fingers. Even in my gloves here, my fingers don't quite go to the tip, which is kind of annoying. So it's hard to find gloves that fit me very well. But these have enough diameter where I can just touch my finger and my thumb. So it's just the perfect diameter for me. I've ridden some bikes where, man, they're just too small. They're hard to ride comfortably. And you end up having to twist the throttle more than you would elsewhere. I don't have any complaints with this. Let's get the RPMs up a little bit here. It's got some decent engine braking. It's smooth and controllable, doesn't jerk. Surprisingly, the vibration really doesn't change going up or down, or really what RPM you're at. It doesn't matter if you're goosing it in first or lugging it in sixth. It feels the same. The sound is very different, but it feels just about the same. Let's goose it in first here. And there's the rev limiter. About 35 miles an hour. Not even 5,000 RPM. Second gear is very responsive. Now I do have a lot of vibration in the seat and the frame and the floorboards here. I'm at 3,000 RPM. This is where its peak torque comes in, right at 3. And it does jump. There's a little bit of a delay. Seems to be about half throttle to full throttle. It's a lot more responsive than closed to half, if that makes any sense. And I'm not talking the obvious. I'm talking about it responds differently. I don't know if this is a ride-by-wire bike, but it kind of feels like it. It feels like they've got a curve built into the throttle. Just from the way it's responding through the rev range. Again, excellent low-speed maneuverability, stays absolutely planted, doesn't feel like it wants to tip at all, no matter how slow I'm going. As long as you short shift it, shift around 4,000, it's happiest. It's got tons of torque when it hits that next gear. You don't need to give it full throttle. It's right in its sweet spot. And it's not shaking so much. That last 1,000 RPM, it definitely has more vibration than anywhere else. Again, to be expected, not a negative thing. But for example, the Scout doesn't do that. The Scout keeps pulling faster you go. I'm going to take this one and let them stop. Haha. They ran it. Last two stopped. That's all right. They know where they're going. One of them's the employee. Let's go down to fourth. Real nice thunderish sound. It just revving it here constant. It's got that deep thunder sound. And then when you crack the throttle open, here coming up 2,500 to 3,000 RPM, it gives that raspier, concussive sound. It's still kind of muted though. I mean, if you're looking for the real attention-grabbing, Harley type sound, you are absolutely still going to have to put aftermarket pipes on it, without a doubt. But I think for a lot of owners, certainly myself, this would be more than enough to keep me happy. And like I said before, the person that's buying this kind of bike, that's generally what they're looking for. They want whatever it is, it's just going to make them happy. Not everybody that's riding a cruiser is out for, hey, look at me, I'm going to sit at a stoplight and rev my engine for no reason and run open headers because I want everybody to stare at me to see how cool I am because I have low self-esteem. Nope. This is just, damn, that sounds really good. This sounds awesome. This makes me happy. This is a great bike. It doesn't matter who's looking at you. I dig it. Mirrors, again, same as a classic, rock solid, no vibration, very clear. Definitely better than most. I still see my elbows, but definitely better than most, and can't say much more. Tell you, if they just extended them another 2 inches, oh man, they would be just plain awesome. You would barely see your elbow if they were just 2 inches wider on either side. It's got the room for it. I don't think the mirrors are the widest point here. They might be. It's close. Yeah, I guess they are. They're just about equal with the control levers. Looks like the point of the teardrop is the widest point of the bike. Just about on par. Good brakes, nice solid feel, feels chunky. Let's go down to 6, just kind of putts along. Now way down low here, 1200 RPM, it's starting to shake, but it still pulls. It does not mind it whatsoever. You get about 1500 RPM, the shake completely disappears, and it just keeps pulling with that. I like that. I think this guy's gonna goose it. There he goes. Yeah, 1500 RPM is the lowest point where you don't get that shake. But you can still do it. I mean, I don't even know what speed I was at back there. Probably about 20 in 6th gear, and it had no problem. Just went, I mean, it just pulled like a little electric motor. Obviously nowhere near the power of a lower gear, but it didn't mind. Didn't feel like it wanted to stall and jump around or anything like that, like some engines do if you lug them. Nope, this just goes. I like that. Beautiful day for a ride. Have to say I like the chrome better. The bikes with the shinier appearance. This still has a nice look. I like the way this bike looks in a parking lot. But from the saddle, give me the chrome any day. Soaked up that bump there, no problem. Went over the exposed train tracks and little wavy cement. Not a problem whatsoever. Yeah, the chrome definitely impresses me more from the saddle. Just as comfortable a ride. I don't know what the price point is between the two. I'm going to assume the Classic is several hundred more, at least. I mean, that chrome isn't cheap, and you do get the auxiliary lights. But other than that, they're the same. So, you know, just knowing how much accessories run, I would imagine no more than $1,000 difference, just guessing. Personally, I'd say it's worth it. Just riding them both here and seeing the difference in the saddle. Chrome makes me smile more, let me put it that way. They both ride nice. Very nice. All right, coming back in here. Some more low speed, down into 1st. Nice engine braking. Very controllable. Very smooth low speed operation. You really don't feel the typical V-twin. There's no pulsing. It feels like an inline four. It really does. And I'm talking down to, you know, idle. Definitely dig it. If you are in the market for this kind of cruiser, you owe it to yourself to check it out. Great turning. All right, so there you go, guys. There's the Indian Dark Horse. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. Check out the site TwoWheelObsession.com. We'll see you next time.